We go, please.
Okay, I swear to God.
Don't Breathe is one of those rare horror thrillers that takes a simple idea and transforms it into something brutally tense and unforgettable. The movie dives into a world where silence becomes the most terrifying weapon and every breath could mean death. Set in a quiet, decaying neighborhood where danger hides behind every door, the film centers around a group of desperate young people who break into what they think is an easy target, only to discover they've stepped into a nightmare beyond imagination. Every moment is drenched in suspense, every sound echoes like a scream, and every shadow seems alive with dread. The story begins with three friends who believe they've found the perfect crime. They target a secluded house in a rundown part of the city, owned by an old blind man rumored to be sitting on a fortune. Their plan feels simple and risk-free: sneak in, grab the money, and get out. But the moment they step inside, the atmosphere shifts from greedy excitement to raw terror. The silence is deafening, the air feels heavy, and something about the house seems wrong. They soon realize that the man they've chosen to rob isn't just another helpless victim, he's a predator. And in his home, they're the prey. What makes the film gripping from the start is how it flips expectations. The blind man is not weak or defenseless. Instead, he's dangerous, ruthless, and frighteningly capable. His blindness doesn't make him vulnerable, it makes him sharper. Every sound becomes his advantage, every creak in the floor a warning signal. The robbers, who once felt in control, quickly find themselves trapped in a deadly game of survival. The movie thrives on this reversal of power, turning the hunter into the hunted in ways that keep viewers on edge from start to finish. As the night unfolds, the tension builds relentlessly. The house becomes a labyrinth of terror, filled with hidden rooms, locks, and secrets. The characters try to move quietly, holding their breath to avoid detection, but every mistake brings the blind man closer. The sound design of the movie amplifies every moment. A floorboard's creak feels like a gunshot, and even the faintest whisper carries the weight of panic. The darkness becomes another character, swallowing light and hope, forcing the intruders to rely on instinct more than sight. Each of the robbers has their own reasons for being there. But as the situation worsens, greed turns into guilt and survival instinct takes over. One of them, driven by the hope of a better life, begins to regret everything as the horror intensifies. The movie cleverly plays with morality, showing how a single wrong decision can spiral into a fight for life. You start by judging the thieves, but as the story deepens, sympathy begins to shift, because what they discover inside. That house goes far beyond anything they could have imagined. The blind man, whose calm and cold demeanor chills the screen, hides a dark secret that changes everything. He's not just defending his home, he's protecting something far more sinister. As the intruders dig deeper, they uncover a horrifying truth buried in the basement, one that makes them realize they're not just fighting to escape. They're trying to survive the mind of a man broken by grief and obsession. This twist pushes the story into disturbing territory, transforming it from a simple home invasion thriller into a psychological nightmare about revenge, loss, and madness. The pacing of the movie is masterful. It never rushes, yet never drags. Every moment feels carefully designed to build fear, using silence more effectively than screams. Instead of relying on cheap jump scares, the film uses tension, the slow tightening of the chest, the anticipation of what's hiding around the corner. It's the kind of movie where even the audience holds its breath, afraid to make a sound. The darkness is claustrophobic, the stillness unbearable, and every escape attempt feels like walking through a minefield of fear, visually. The movie creates a haunting atmosphere that feels both real and surreal. The camera moves like a ghost through the narrow hallways and dimly lit rooms, making viewers feel trapped inside the same nightmare as the characters. The lighting is minimal, with shadows swallowing most of the frame, giving a sense that danger lurks just outside of sight. Every scene feels gritty and tense, immersing the audience in a world where safety doesn't exist. The visual storytelling complements the psychological terror perfectly. making every detail, from a dripping pipe to a flickering bulb, feel like part of the horror. The emotional intensity grows as the story continues. The characters begin to crumble under the pressure, their friendship breaking apart as they realize that not everyone will make it out alive. Fear brings out their true selves, and desperation forces them to make impossible choices. The blind man's relentless pursuit is terrifying because he never gives up. He doesn't need to see them. He just needs to hear them. The movie's title, Don't Breathe, becomes more than just a warning. It's a survival rule. One wrong breath can mean the end. As the chaos escalates, the movie's violence feels raw and unfiltered. There are moments of shocking brutality, but they never feel gratuitous. Instead, they serve the story, showing how primal survival can become when life is on the line. The blind man's strength, precision, and ruthlessness make him one of the most terrifying figures in modern horror. Yet what makes him truly frightening isn't his violence, it's his calmness. He kills without rage, without joy, almost as if it's just another part of his existence. That emotionless nature gives the character a disturbing realism that lingers long after the film ends. The film also plays with light and darkness in clever ways, both visually and metaphorically. The intruders who entered the house under the cover of night represent moral darkness. Their greed and arrogance lead them into danger. But as the story goes on, the true darkness reveals itself to be inside the man they thought was harmless. His past, his grief, and his twisted form of justice become symbols of how pain can turn into monstrosity. The house itself mirrors his mind, a place filled with hidden rooms, locked secrets, and no way out. As the story reaches its climax, the intensity becomes almost unbearable. Every door seems locked, every exit blocked. The blind man's control over his surroundings gives him the upper hand at every turn. But the final confrontation brings out the full courage and desperation of the survivors. The chase scenes are filled with raw emotion, fear, anger, and defiance, all colliding in one chaotic storm. The struggle feels personal, not just physical, as the survivors fight not only for their lives but for redemption from their own choices. When daylight finally breaks, the sense of relief is mixed with shock and exhaustion. The ending leaves the audience with haunting questions: who truly deserved to survive, and what does survival even mean after witnessing such horror? The movie doesn't give easy answers. It leaves you unsettled, forcing you to reflect on the morality of every character. The line between victim and villain becomes blurred, and that moral ambiguity is what makes the story so powerful. You can't walk away from it untouched. The sound design remains one of the film's most brilliant elements. The silence isn't empty, it's alive with tension. Small sounds like breathing, footsteps, or dripping water become unbearable reminders of how fragile survival can be. The filmmakers use sound not just to scare, but to build a rhythm of fear. Each noise feels like part of a deadly heartbeat that keeps pounding until the very end. Combined with a haunting musical score that creeps in only when necessary, the atmosphere becomes suffocating in the best possible way. Emotionally, the film hits on the theme of desperation, how far people will go when they have nothing left to lose. Both the intruders and the blind man are products of broken lives, shaped by pain and hopelessness. Their clash isn't just physical. It's a reflection of human weakness and the dark corners of survival. This psychological layer gives the story unexpected depth, transforming it from a simple horror film into a study of human instinct under pressure. The movie's lasting power lies in its simplicity. There are no supernatural monsters, no complex backstories, and no exaggerated effects, just a house, a few people, and fear so real you can feel it. That minimalism makes it timeless. It proves that the scariest things aren't ghosts or demons, but humans pushed beyond their limits. The idea that someone could be right behind you, listening to every breath, waiting for you to make a sound, that's the kind of horror that doesn't fade easily, even long after the credits roll. The memory of certain scenes stays with you, the quiet chases, the heart-stopping silences, the moments when you almost forget to breathe yourself. It's not just a movie, it's an experience that plays with your nerves and your empathy at the same time. The balance between terror and humanity makes it unforgettable. In the end, Don't Breathe is more than just a story of survival. It's about the cost of choices, the weight of guilt, and the thin line between justice and revenge. It leaves viewers questioning their own morality, wondering what they would do in the same situation. It's a rare film that manages to be both terrifying and thought-provoking, reminding us that the scariest monsters aren't always the ones hiding in the dark. Sometimes, they're the ones standing right in front of us, listening, waiting, and breathing just like we are.